Ghanaians must be reminded of why the National Democratic Congress, and in particular the current president, Mr. Mahama, won the election of 2024. We went to the market to all market our products, and here I'm talking about our various candidates. And 4 topical issues were in the minds of the Ghanaian, i.e. the economy, comprising of high cost of living, unemployment, the way and manner our city was behaving against major trading currencies, and as Comrade Pratt always say, the price of a ball of cake. Very fresh in the minds of the Ghanaian. Added to what was topical in the minds of many Ghanaians was the fact that politicians, and for that matter people in positions, had actually looted the state, and it was in the lips of many. Issue of Galamsey and also LGBTQ. These were the topical issues that we went into election 2024 with. And somewhere, somehow along the way, the National Democratic Congress came out with an acronym, ORA, which found favor with the people of Ghana. In fact, they promised that given the opportunity, the number of corruption-related issues that were circulating in the minds of Ghanaians will be dealt with, and dealt with comprehensively. So, Senator, you will remember, or you will recall, that during the inauguration of President Mahama, of the 4 issues he listed that he was going to deal with, none of which received applause from the sitting public, apart from when he mentioned accountability, which fits into the oral narrative. So it's a very, very important exercise that has to be dealt with, and whether or not President Mahama will leave any legacy, I can bet you it's not about the number of houses or infrastructure you put in place, but how well you are able to help this country to at least recover some looted funds, if there is any. And so it is an exercise that nobody can toil or play with. The ORA team that was formed have presented their report to the Attorney General, or they presented to the President, and the President has forwarded it to the Attorney General. I have heard a member of the ORA team, Mr. W, say that with what they have presented, it is not that they have to go and do auditing to narrow the specific charges so that they can go ahead with various prosecutions, and that is the work of the Attorney General. So we are in expectant mode, because it cannot be, Senator, that all of us know that the whole that costed $58 million is available. It is there for everyone to see. All of us know that $1 billion Ghana cedi had been paid to SML. It is there. All of us know. Even if you didn't know, now we know that some names were inflated with the National Service from 2017 to date, and that people that were not deserving of monies have actually been paid. It is interesting that when you read the reports that have come out, that Ghana as a country is blessed to the extent that we have 90-year-olds, 82-year-olds doing national service and collecting salaries. It is important that these matters are investigated and investigated properly, so that the Ghanaian will be reassured that politicians will not be allowed to take us for a ride. And you see, in doing so, I have heard a number of people in the circles try to equate what has happened regarding some of the dropping of charges of former appointees to the fact that the fight against corruption may not be won because of what the current administration is doing. And I believe that it's a matter that those in government must take very serious. You see, the issues surrounding the cases that have been dropped. Sarah, yes, I am for people or government going for our monies that have been stolen. Yes, I support any attorney general that decide to go for monies that belongs to the state or assets that belongs to the state. But in doing so, you ask yourself a fundamental question. Who is the state and what is the state? When we say a state, it's you and I that makes a state. So in doing so, we must also not lose sight of the fact that we cannot deliberately or arbitrarily go after people who have not committed crimes. That has to be established. Because some of you sitting here, not because somebody hates you, might just frame a story around you, and then under the guise of trying to retrieve stolen asset to the state, just put you before a court. That must be resisted. However, people that have genuinely, deliberately stolen from the state, they must be pursued. And it is in this light that this week what has happened involving the Attorney General and the former Attorney General saddens my heart, Senator. You remember the Attorney General, the current Attorney General, that is Dr. Ayeni, did a press conference and then enumerated or cited reasons as to why some of the cases have been dropped with accused left to go. I must say, I for once, I agree with him on the cases or the charges that he has dropped on the affected personalities. You take case by case. In the Opuni and Agogo case, matter do about nothing, persecution, pure. Ato forces all, pure persecution, to the extent that you had the former Attorney General, Dr. Godfrey Dame, caught on tape, and to my surprise, as we speak, he is not before any General Legal Counsel answering questions for professional misconduct. Now you had the former Attorney General who was busily negotiating with a witness or with an accused that he must behave in a certain manner, and to even further it out by showing him how to go and procure a medical report that would allow him to stay out of court business. That was an Attorney General showing someone a way. Indeed, the accused was not sick. So how was the accused going to procure? Through a fraudulent means. So in effect, the Attorney General was showing the accused how to fraudulently procure. And that's the way Attorney General is supposed to behave. Minister of Justice. So I thought, in that light, Ayeni was right. Indeed, the Court of Appeal strike the case of Ato Forsen versus the state out. If you go into the details of the matter, the institution that should have been responsible for any willful causing financial loss to the state, if there was any, that is the Ministry of Health, surprisingly, the government rather set them free, allowed the director for that ministry to go scot-free, and rather pursue people who under strict business law or business should never have had their names appear on any paper. And when you do that, it becomes witch hunting or political persecution. I took my time to also follow a case like Dr. Asiama's own. And I felt in this country, if you are trying to do what is right or fighting for the development of this country and you are not careful, you may end up being the person that is being persecuted. Interestingly, about 4 or 5 people were set free by this Attorney General. Basara, I don't know whether you have taken notice of this, that from Parliament, members of Parliament from the NPP side, from their apparatchiks and all those involved, they have only singled out one name, one person among those that have been freed to be attacking. People must begin to patiently follow what is happening, because that is what I do. When I see someone being attacked, I try to go into the matter as to why. And here I am referring to Dr. Pandit Asiama, the new governor of Bank of Ghana. They have left the finance minister Atufosin. The NPP is not discussing him. They have left Opuni. They are not discussing him. They have left Collins Daughter. They are not discussing him. It means they all agree that as for these people, they didn't have any matter. But now they are attacking Dr. Johnson. Is it Johnson Asiama?
Yes.
So I decided to take interest and go back to all the documents that were filed at the court to understand whether or not the New Patriotic Party and its members have any cause to draw the attention of the Ghanaian to why Dr. Johnson Asiama must or shouldn't have been allowed to go scot-free. And yesterday, when I listened to Godfrey Dame, I cringed. Said I nearly wept. I couldn't believe it that he has been our former Minister of Justice. See, people must add common sense, to the laws that they have learned. The Bank of Ghana, as you and I know, is the lender of what? Last resort. And so that those who are in position today, they must understand one thing, that government, whether or not government will survive in any given time, depends on how well businesses survive. Because as a government, indirectly, any business that is surviving, you have 25% shares in it. Because if a business is making profits at the end of the year, that business will be paying what you call corporate tax. So it is in your interest that you as a government make sure a business survives. A business that is paying taxes, why would you allow it to collapse? So when I listened to Godfrey Dame and I read the various charges, that one of the charges that was leveled against Dr. Asiama was the fact that he approved a facility of 450 million Ghana cedis.
That's liquidity support.
That is liquidity support to Unibank, UMB, which 300 billion cedis was given to Unibank. I said, what are we talking about? That it was wrong for the Bank of Ghana, that is the lender of last resort, to have gone into the aid of an indigenous Ghanaian business that was struggling, so that it can be on its feet to continue to engage or employ Ghanaians, and that in the view of the former Attorney General Godfrey Dame, there was no reason whatsoever that the Bank of Ghana should have saved a Ghanaian business. It does not even have to be a Ghanaian business. Every business in this country must be saved by the Bank of Ghana if there is a need, so that government can continue to recover or take its corporate taxes annually. Now, when I went further, I realized that even the money that was extended to Unibank, which is the 300 million cedis, had been paid back to the Bank of Ghana. So on what basis was the man standing trial before anybody or before any court, if it is not political persecution? I am singling out Dr. Asiama because I have realized that consistently all attacks are geared towards the Bank of Ghana. Make no mistake that it is just people fighting for the state, that is the opposition party. No, you will be fooling yourself. It started with Gideon Boako. He attacked Dr. Asiama, now followed by the minority leader, attacked Asiama. Now we are talking about Godfrey Dame spending so much time to attack Asiama. Remember that this was the Bank of Ghana that is accused of having overprinted money So if you are looking at one area and their works have been captured by the aura, that it is one of the institutions that they are vigorously going to, as it were, investigate. And if they are going to investigate the Bank of Ghana, so that, who will lead that investigation? Who will provide the information? Is it not Dr. Asiama? Is he friendly with them? Judging by what they themselves did to him, would they have favorable reports? The man probably will be speaking or saying the truth. So what must we do to avert any calamity? We must go after the man. Other than that, a person gives money to Unibank. And mind you, the monies that were extended, according to my research, all these things were approved at the board level. So why attack him? Secondly, he was accused of having advanced 460 million cedis to the UT Bank. Now, if you go to the court documents itself, it tells you that a greater proportion of that money that was extended to the UT Bank was rather held by the Bank of Ghana itself to offset some of the liabilities that UT Bank was going through. I mean, would you be happy? UT Bank, an indigenous bank, Ghana Bank, now if you go into the market, Ghanaian banks are fizzling out. How can you have a situation where foreign banks are rather surviving in this country and the Bank of Ghana now sit down and look at it and say, look, we will protect Ghanaian banks, advancing facility to it, and you say, the man erred. Erred in what? You get my point. Now, Godfrey Dami goes ahead and speaks or talks about what we call obligate limit. That's why I gave up. I said, no, this country, the way and manner we appoint attorney generals, we must refrain from, this is my friend, this is my party. Because at the time Dr. Asiama and his team advanced that money, if you go through the Banking Act properly, and I believe Dr. Godfrey Dami is a little person and would have taken a critical look at the Banking Act. The Bank of Ghana at the time Dr. Asiama advanced this money had the power to waive the limits, obligate limits. And so what was he talking about? And some of this have been done at the board levels. So I'm bringing this thing out because you see, the fight against corruption, the orative, one of the persons that can help this country to unravel all the mysteries that took place at the Bank of Ghana will be, there is no better person under the circumstances than Dr. Asiama. And there are a lot of shenanigans that have been put at the Bank of Ghana by the SR administration, that it will be in their interest to get the man out of the place, so that all the dirty things that they did, mind you, there was a policy like go for oil. Which policy have you ever cited it before? No. Have you seen it before? That policy was being done in conjunction with the Bank of Ghana. We have never seen any policy document. How can we unravel any mystery with that policy? How much gold we had, how much money or how much gold was transferred out of this country for such a transaction? It will take someone who knows the system very well. And that is why the Ghanaian must be very, very interested in whatever is happening. I don't know the gentleman. If I were in the National Democratic Congress, I would be very surprised that you are also not going into it and finding out why the NPP, apart from him, they are not talking about anyone else. The only person they are singling out is Dr. Asiama. They must tell you something. And the moment this administration fails on the fight against corruption, that is the end. I've told people on other platforms that we are in our last phase of this NDC NPP politics. Whether or not NDC NPP will survive in the next 4-8 years depends on how well the John Mahama administration behaves. If they come and do business as usual, I can assure you that the Ghanaian will sack them without any difficulty. Because we are tired of always being shortchanged. Now governments come, and all that they do is that they come and whitewash the previous administration. They try some funny things in the system, And then within a matter of a month, everyone forgets about it, and it is business as usual. The new government also comes in, loot everyone, they go, the other ones come, whitewash, and it cannot continue. So something interesting is beginning to happen in Parliament. I don't know whether you are also following as well. All of a sudden, we have our brothers from the other side, both sides, say we are all brothers. We don't have to treat ourselves very bad. We must behave as one family. Hey, so if you have stolen, on the altar of behaving like brothers, you must not be touched. That goes into the matter of the office of the special prosecutor. Senna, honestly, I wasn't impressed with the way and manner the OSP behaved. I have my own interpretation as to what has happened. And probably as we move or go forward, people would understand how some of these things work. For now, it may sound utopia to them. But I can tell you that if there is any benefits to what the OSP did, that benefit endures to Ken Ofori-Atta and not otherwise. I strongly believe that the OSP's actions is to whitewash Ken Ofori-Atta. And why am I saying that? All this back and forth that was taking place between Ken Ofori-Atta and the OSP, were you in the know? Now, military personnel, we are told, goes into the house of Ken Ofori-Atta. The next day, we have office of the special prosecutor, or the SP himself, the special prosecutor, comes out to hold a press conference. Now the special prosecutor now narrates to the general public what has happened, and through that press conference decides to even answer a communique or correspondence that had been sent to him by lawyers of Ken Ofori-Atta. He didn't see the need to respond to them officially, but he decided to come and tell us. In there, then he declares someone a fugitive. The question you ask yourself is whether or not the OSP has that power to declare someone a fugitive, having not been given that court order, or having not been allowed by the court to declare someone a fugitive, so that the OSP would have created that leeway for people to capitalize on that, and based on that they shape up public sentiment, public sympathy towards Ken Ofori-Atta for him to look good. And that is what I believe, because immediately he did that, what happened? You had the New Patriotic Party led by Henry Nana B holding a press conference. But let me find out, and I want to ask Nana B to come clean as to whether or not he has been appointed officially by Ken Ofori-Atta as his spokesperson, because now we are not too sure whether whatever he's saying indeed represents the view of Ken Ofori-Atta. We are not too sure whether Ken Ofori-Atta even instructed the New Patriotic Party, and what is the business of the New Patriotic Party responding to issues that is affecting an individual. Is it the case that the New Patriotic Party now will be addressing every matter that affects a member of the New Patriotic Party, or because he was a former minister? And if they responded because he was a former minister, is it the case that anybody who is a former minister, the moment that person has an issue, the party is going to deal with? Because not just there, even in Parliament, we had the minority leader openly making a statement and telling us how Ken Ofori-Atta has been traumatized and how he is not happy that all these things, and in all this, we are yet to hear even from the lawyers discussing the issues, apart from the letters that they have sent. And so that has to be settled. There is a reason why you have your name, I have my name. the OSP, if indeed is conducting any serious investigation, wrote to Ken Ofori-Atta. For that matter, we expect Ken Ofori-Atta or anybody as appointed to be responding to the people of this country. They have started. We are going to fight. Is it the case? And I heard this from Nana B. We will not sit down. And I heard it from Afenyo. Is it the case that they know that there are issues that are coming, so we must shape up the public sentiments? We must get our foot soldiers ready for battle? That will be serious. But let me tell the foot soldiers who never enjoyed any booty from any of the booty, that you will be a move to waste your time on these people who are filthy rich. Ken Ofori-Atta is being investigated on the SMLD. Is that not the case? It's being investigated on the National Cathedral deal and the ECG contract that was terminated. Is that not the case? In the case of the SML, we are talking about the $1 billion city. How many of you full soldiers? You are always going around with school fees bill, health bill, and so on. How many of you benefited from it? The last time I listened to Sticker, the earlier I stopped talking about these matters, the better. That a former minister who helped to establish the free SHS and so on and so forth. If the former minister's work, have been good, why would he rather fly outside this country to Mayo Clinic, a top-tier clinic, if indeed it's true, to go and seek medical attention, when the $58 million that he decided to push into a hole could have refurbished Kolebu, could have refurbished Konfanochi, could have put up a brand new hospital where he would be going for a supposed testing and observation? Now we are not even too sure when the man is going to come to this country. Do you know when he's going to come? But I don't blame Ken Ofori-Atta on this score. You remember he was the only one that postponed his vetting. And I kept saying in this your platform that for the minority then to have allowed him to be somewhere and dictating when he will come for his vetting, that was a bad precedent. Similarly, he is postponing whatever. He says he doesn't even know. The last time Nanabi that conducted the press conference, he was asked on FM. So when is Ken Ofori-Atta coming? He said March. When in March? He said, oh, but after the observation, he's likely to go through a surgical operation and that they will determine. So we don't even know when the man is coming. The earlier John Mohammed's administration takes this corruption and Ken Ofori-Atta's issue very serious, because if they do not know what is happening in the system, is that people are beginning to lose faith that it's business as usual. They are not going to fight against this corruption. It is just a matter of making noise. At the end of the day, this man will go scot-free, and the money, the Ghanaian, will still wallow in abject poverty. I believe that if the OSP is mindful, he must go to court and seek a bench warrant or arrest warrant and then chase him. Whatever it is. Because if you read the supposed letter, we don't even know the doctor. The doctor that says he's in the US. If you go and read the English, you will think that that doctor grew up with me in my village. You don't know the head and tail. And that document or that letter, if you have a copy here, check whom it was addressed to. It was addressed to Ken Ofori-Atta. So how can anybody take it serious? How can anyone that is serious in this country rely on that letter from the medical personnel? It is all part of the settings as you have been treated, and this must be resisted by all well-meaning Ghanaians. And you see, they set all these things just to prepare your minds that if subsequent issues, this is how people are going to behave. He is setting a precedent that even when he was invited, he only got a supposed medical report to allow him to stay there indefinite. So when you mention my name, do you think I'll also come? I'll just go and get a medical report from India or maybe Kosovo and tell you that I'm also going through observation and test. And beyond that, I may go through surgical operation. And after that, I can determine when I will come. Is that the way a man want to develop this country? It's a very bad and worrying situation. And I believe that we must do our utmost best to encourage Ghanaians to have some levels of confidence in our governance so that all of us can build this country. I will end it here.